Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to the show. I will be attending the RapsCon and Raps VIP in Long Beach on August 2nd to the 4th. I'll also be doing podcast interviews, so if you're interested in getting in an interview with me, please contact me via email at allwrappeduppodcast.com. Head over there for more information to set up time and date. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the 3rd Annual Raps VIP on August 3rd at 8 p.m. in Long Beach, California, right after RapsCon. This event is hosted by the IBOW, Dub IR, and Rapper Mapper, with sponsors like Orfold, 3M, Avery Dennison, along with tons of additional sponsors, networks, tools, and shops. Raps VIP is a totally free event by the rap industry for the rap industry. Everyone is welcome and all aspects of the industry are respected and supported. They'll also be having a classic car show with wrapped cars from the 50s and 60s. And what's an event without a little bit of competition? So they'll also be doing a die-cast car wrapping competition. There'll also be a live broadcast with yours truly from the Raps VIP event and some sit-down talks with some industry leaders. For more information, check out rapsvipevent.com. They'll also be posting some information and some updated stuff on their social media account. So head over to rapsvipevent.com to get any more additional information about the event. Now here's a brand new episode of All Wrapped Up.
So as far as training classes, take them all. Take anyone that comes to your town. I don't use a lot of Hexus, and Hexus came to Colorado Springs, and I said, I got to go take that. And Albert he just says things that just make sense. Things that you might even know because you've been rapping forever. He says them in a way that you've never thought of, that every time I'm in that position now, I hear Albert telling me the things that he told me.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up Podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading rap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll go live. We've got Martin Medill from High Res Imaging. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. What are you doing?
Just another day. It's Monday, man. What are you going to do? The Monday blues, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Another day, another dollar.
Hopefully. It is
if you get it right.
It is Monday. I mean, it's not payday. It's not Friday yet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
At least for a lot of us, we get paid, usually when we're done with the job and whatnot. So every day could be a payday.
Yeah. Mondays are pretty good for us. A lot of checks come in over the weekend, it seems like. So.
Oh, there you go. Catch up on those bills.
Exactly. We like coming in on Mondays and finding checks through the mail slot. So.
It's like Christmas, right?
Exactly.
Awesome, dude. Well, as we start every podcast in the beginning, I like to get an inside look on what you have going on for this week or how you ended last week.
Oh, man. Well, I'm sitting on a job site right now, so we're still working. We've got Circle K rollout right now that we've been doing for a couple months, actually. So my weeks are pretty busy with that. They're going one store a day. So we're in Denver for this week, Denver next week. We'll be in El Paso the next week after that, and Albuquerque the next week after that. And so it's a busy time right now. Last week I got to do some cool projects. I wrapped a wheelbarrow, little go-kart.
Oh, I saw that. That was on the Instagram, right? Looked like a little hot rod.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah, my landlord actually was building that for the Nationals, and he brought it in, and he works at a paint shop, and they told him if he had that thing wrapped, he was getting fired. And he said, well, if I don't have it wrapped, I might lose my tenant. So he brought it into us, one of that, that metallic, and we went and got the Avery Diamond red and put on there, and then I used some knifeless, cut out some scallops for it, and got it done for him in a day, because he needed it the next day, of course, to get it put together.
Amazing work on that, though, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and the surface wasn't great. It still had concrete in it. It was primered. It was bad. So it didn't really go on very good. I had to seam it in a few places because it just wouldn't stick enough to stretch it at all. So
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, for what it was, it looks great, and I'm sure it was a showstopper. So.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the photos alone
Yeah.
look unbelievable.
Oh yeah, you get that thing out in the sun, and that diamond red really goes crazy.
Yeah, definitely. How long did that take you to wrap?
Probably an hour and a half, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't, like I said, I had to cut it and seam it. I was gonna try to one piece it in there and and it just wasn't sticking to the primer or anything, so I just had to lay it all down in there and just cut it. So.
Yeah. But you know what? At the end of the day, even though he's probably only going to use the thing once.
He'll use it. He has a hot rod that goes to all the races and everything. So he'll take it. He'll use that to drive around the track, I'm sure, to drive back and forth to the pits.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny. So what else did you have going on last week?
Did a whole bunch of soapbox derby cars for the kids. We donate at least one a year. This year we did 3, and they're pretty cool. One of them was in Tech Wrap, Mystic Chrome, the black Mystic Chrome, and the other one was the other one we had to make for the Colorado State patrol. So we had to make it look like a patrol car. So we wrapped it all in 3M 1080 gloss white aluminum, and then put black on it and the stars and stuff and the logos.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we like doing those cars for the kids.
Yeah, it's always good to get back a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's good on the morale for the team. It's good publicity, obviously, even though you're kind of doing it the kindness of your own heart. It's always good to get back a little bit to the community. You know? Exactly.
You got to be involved. We do a lot with our local Riverwalk and Convention Center and everything, the downtown association. We get into all that stuff and really try to be visible in the community, not just for business, but, for the kids, for the community, everybody in the community. We try to help out where we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It definitely gives us visibility. I won't say it doesn't do that, but
I know.
It makes people know who you are.
Exactly. And when you're involved and you're current and you're present, sometimes that could lead to a bigger opportunity job in the town or whatever the case may be,
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. So you're saying, now today you're at a install. So what are you guys actually doing for Circle K?
So we've done the Valero gas stations and Diamond Shamrock. It used to be Diamond Shamrock, then it changed to Valero, then it changed Corner Store, all this. We've done those for almost 18 years now. The exterior canopies, the interior signage, everything, vinyl on the walls, wall murals, hanging signs. We've done them for Valero and Diamond Shamrock for like 18 years. And then we started doing Circle K about 6 years ago. And now Circle K has bought Valero. So they're changing some of these stores I've done 3 times in the Colorado area. I'm going back to do them this 3rd time, change them to a Circle K. So today we're up in Denver, North Denver, Thornton actually, doing the first or the second one today. Actually, the first one was a pretty easy one. And we're on our second store of the day. We've got 14 to do before we head to El Paso to do more, and then Albuquerque after that. And then we got another 20 something here in Denver when we get back. So it's pretty crazy. We've got them down to at least one a day. And so they have us go everywhere. We spent 22 days in San Antonio doing 22 stores.
Jesus.
So we travel a lot. I try not to. I really, I put my heart and soul into my shop, and I have a good crew there. I just don't have a great, I don't have enough people. Let's put it that way. I don't have enough people. When I'm gone, a lot of things get pushed off, and then I don't get a weekend when I get home. So
how many people do you have working for you total?
Oh man. I have 3 on site.
Sounds like a lot.
No, it's not that many. I go through people a lot because, you find out in the first day usually if they can do it. It's,
right.
I can tell in about an hour if somebody can rap.
Really?
Other stuff like, yeah, I mean, you can tell you either have it or you don't. And I hate to say that, but people out there that do this, they know. that you either have it or you don't. Some people can force it and learn it somewhat, but if they just don't feel it, you can't teach that. You can't teach the feeling of it.
Right.
And so, but wrapping, that's a whole different thing. What we're doing here on the retail side, that can be taught. It's a lot more construction based, and the vinyl is all wall mural. So,
right.
All wall graphics. That's the easy stuff. So this is I don't go through as many people on this side of the job, but on the install for wraps, I go through a lot of people.
Wow.
But here on site right now, there's 4 of us, including me. And then, at the shop, there is 4. There's my production guy, and he does some install, actually 5. My window tinter's there, 3 days a week. So 5 guys at the shop right now, or 5 people. I have my production guy, Roger. He does some install, mostly production, a lot of design. Then I have, Bobby, she runs the front desk and she's doing a lot of production. She's really picking it up. My daughter actually is in college right now for graphic design and is, just starting this week full time. She's been working with us part time.
Wow.
And she's starting full time now, helping out with design because we're so behind. My wife, she runs the place. She's the boss over there, and she does all the book work, all of the billing, deals with customers, does a lot of design. She doesn't have time to do the design she wants, so she does the design in her head and relays it to my designers, makes them put it on the computer, because she just does not have the time to sit down and do it very often. When she does, it's amazing what she comes up with.
Wow.
And then Ernie, my tenor, he's there 3 days a week, so.
That's awesome. So you do, you have to manage your crew for wraps, manage your crew for signage, walls. You guys do everything from start to finish, basically, at your shop.
We do. We actually, well, the stuff we're doing for Circle K and the whole works there, that's all subs. That's a company I've been working for almost 20 years, 18, 19 years. And
wow.
That's a good client. And the reason we still have that client is because I am on site. He's told me himself that, he's hired other crews, and after they get going, boss isn't on site and the workers don't care. So one of the main reasons he uses us is we're fast, we're good, and I'm always here and I'm accountable and I take care of stuff. Something goes wrong, something's not right, I'm there the next day or as soon as I can fixing it, and they don't ever have to hear about it. So.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, that potentially could be the make or break for a lot of people when you can't get the boss on the phone, or it's taking too long to get back to an issue. I mean, you could lose a job real quick for something like that.
Right. At the same time, the same company's telling me that I got to learn to let go of some of it. Otherwise, I'm never going to grow bigger than I am. And I'm just like, well, I'm as big as I want. They want me to be bigger, but they're not going to like the outcome unless I really find somebody that. I almost have to find somebody invested in it as much as I am to care. Cause I don't know. That's one of my notes actually is that, subs and employees, they just don't, they're not invested in your business. So they just don't care as much. And I shouldn't say that about all of them. Cause who I used to work for, I did treat it like it was my own, and I was invested and I treated it, I've treated all my jobs that way. So there is some people like that, but most people it's 9 to 5. And it really doesn't matter when they go home. They're not thinking about it. It's not theirs. And they shouldn't, they shouldn't waste their time thinking about it.
Right. It's a rare breed. It's a rare breed.
It is. It's very rare. Yes. And I'm still looking for one of those. I have really good employees. I'm not going to badmouth any of them, but I don't expect them to treat it like their own. And I tell them when they start not to. And, if I found one that did, I'd make sure I keep him no matter what.
Yeah. It's tough out there to find loyal, people that will, take their job seriously. You know what I mean? And try not to make mistakes. I mean, everyone has a bad day.
Yeah, for sure.
Not gonna knock that. I have bad days all the time. But I mean, at the end of the day, do you feel like maybe it's kind of the times? Cause you're a little bit older. How old are you?
I'm 40.
40.
Yeah.
Young 40. Kidding me?
Young 40, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel older than 40, but
Do you feel like the demographic as far as work quality, kind of loyalty, all that good stuff has kind of dwindled
yeah,
a little bit?
to a point, yeah, but I haven't, I haven't been around that long to know, I haven't been self-employed that long. 08 is when I started, and most of the people I've hired, yes, I've noticed that. I have a guy now that's the most loyal guy in the world. He'll work 20 hours a day if you want. We were in Austin and we worked 23 straight hours because we saw the end of the job and we did it. And then we slept the whole day before we drove home. So, I mean, but he's got that commitment and everything. So and he's only 24.
Oh,
so, I mean,
yeah.
there is guys out there that are willing to do that stuff, and I don't ask my guys to do that ever. Like we talk about it. And if it's, if that's what we decide and we do it, but I've had other guys that are like, no, I've worked 8 hours today. Take me to the hotel.
Right.
I'm done. And it's not a hard job. That's one of the things that I love about this job. Even what we're doing. I mean, we're building a metal structure. It's light metal, but we're using chop saws and drills and stuff all day long.
Right.
And none of it's hard. None of it's brain draining. None of it's physically hard. What's hard is that you do spend a lot of hours doing it, because you see that you could finish it and you just want to finish and do another one. You know what I mean? So if you were roofing, I could see 8 hours. I'm done. I'm out of here.
Right.
That's hard stuff. This is it's just time consuming, really.
Yeah. And when it's repetitive like that, where you've got a system, everyone knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
And they're almost cookie cutter, you can't, that almost is, I would probably say, as draining as actually doing the job, knowing that you're doing the same thing all over again.
Yeah, it's funny. It was just the three of us in San Antonio for 22 days. And every site was pretty close. There was a few different ones, but we really got the hang of a certain site. Mm-hmm. And we show up to a store and it's a reverse. It's the exact same store, but it's reversed. And it just threw everybody off.
Mind blowing.
It took almost twice as long as we were doing them. And it just everything was completely backwards.
Wow.
And it just felt weird. I mean, there was nothing different about it except that the layout was backwards. So it messed us all up. Yeah. It's weird.
That's so funny. Yeah. I mean, it seems like you got a pretty good crew. How often are you away from the shop when you do these things? Are you away weeks at a time or?
Yeah. Most of the time it's a week, maybe two, but sometimes a day or two. It varies on the job. When I first started my own thing up, I actually was gone 30 days straight right off the bat. Davenport, Iowa, we had a big BP job out there and we did 30 something stores in 30 days. I missed my son being born
wow.
because of it.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife was not supposed to be pregnant or she wasn't due till I got back. And so I was like, this is good. We'll be done, everything. Well, she called me and said she's kind of feeling weird. And I was like, do I need to go to the airport? And she said, no, I'm good. And I finally get a phone call saying, we're taking her to the hospital. She was working at a bank at the time. They said, we're taking her to the hospital. She's going into labor. So we got on the highway and we started booking it to Chicago to get me. That was the closest airport that could have flown me back. And I'm standing in line as they're telling me the last flight's already left. And I got a picture of my son as a text message.
Wow. Is that your first child?
No, I have it's for my own. Yes, it's my one and only. I have a daughter who is 19, but I adopted her. She's my wife's daughter. But when we got married, I adopted her. So we've been together since she was 4.
Wow.
So she's mine. There's nothing. She's all I know as a dad and she's all I know as a daughter. But as far as my flesh and blood born, yes, he is my only.
That's awesome. Because I was going to say, if you've read books or seen movies, they never come out on that day.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to, she was due the first week of June or something and we're supposed to be done the last day of May. And And I'm like, well, it'll be close, but you just let me know in time and I'll get there.
You hold that
Yeah,
baby until I get there.
yeah, exactly. The doctor actually induced and everything. And I was all mad and she was mad at me for being mad. But, I got there the next morning, early. I got the first flight back to Denver, rented a car and drove down and picked him up to the hospital, took him home and everything, and spent a couple days at home, then flew back out, went back to work, finished up the job. And it's, so, I mean, my son, I really, that's one of the main reasons I started my business, the local business, is to stay home with my son.
Mm-hmm.
And then this, right now in this industry, it's so busy. Everybody is calling me, trying to get me to go somewhere. I've got a water tower in Oklahoma. They want me to go wrap, and I don't know how I'm going to get down there to even survey it, let alone to go wrap it. So yeah, I have jobs all over. I keep going back and forth to Vegas for jobs, California, and then all these Circle K's. These guys are wanting things done yesterday, and we're training it for another crew right now to send out to El Paso, because we still have Colorado work to do while El Paso's going on. So
that's an incredible account, man.
It is. It really is. And I like I said, the engineers and stuff that I've been dealing with at Circle K, or not Circle K at the time, but Valero and everything, I've actually known for 18 years, been working with them. I guess off and on whenever they have a project.
Yeah, I mean, loyalty is definitely key, and not a lot of businesses coming off the gate new to the industry are picking up accounts like that anymore.
No, there's a lot of people want to work for this company. They're the largest graphics company in the world, and or in the country at least. I don't know about the world. And they just keep buying up companies all over, and a lot of people want to get an in with them, and it's pretty hard. I worked for them so long ago and everything that they actually flew me to Minnesota to their headquarters and actually to 3M's headquarters. I think it was 2009 for an Old Navy project. And, we're sitting there and I'm reading through the booklet for this project and it says must be 3M certified and everything. And I wasn't at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled the guy aside and I said, hey man, I came all the way up here and I'm doing all this. This says I got to be 3M certified. I got to go take this test and do this before I can do it. And he says, oh no, your grandfather didn't. Don't worry about that. So,
what?
oh, okay. Yeah. So that was, they have me. I must be on a pretty good list. I'm not trying. I don't want to sound braggy at all, but I must be on a pretty good list for them to tell me that long, back then. But don't worry about the rules that are in this book. You're good. So
yeah, here's a free pass. You're good to go.
Yeah. And I wanted to get 3M certified. I wanted to do all that, but I just, I guess I don't know. My background goes way back, and I really don't want to talk all night about all this stuff. But I want to keep it short for you guys.
Yeah, but, I mean, certifications now are alwa's a big topic. What's your take on it? You've got quite a few underneath your belt now, right?
Yeah. I've got a lot of them. Well, not a lot, but there's not a lot out there, I guess. I have 3M, I have Avery, I have PDAA, which I just found out that if you do PDAA, they give you the Avery one. So anybody out there that's going to go do PDAA and Avery, you don't have to do them both. They give you the CWI if you do the PDAA. So
are they kind of the same?
They are, and I did the PDAA back in, I think it was 2002. I took it, with the other company I worked for, and it was actually at Avery's location in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew they were kind of affiliated, and, I wondered maybe they parted ways or something, but they just emailed me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, we want to get you on the Avery site because we see that, that you're all PDAA and all that. And I said, well, shoot, I took the Avery class about 2 months before I went and took the PDAA class. So.
And nobody told you that when you signed up.
Well, they did. Rob told me when I was done that, hey, guys, by the way, you're Avery certified now too. And I'm thinking, I was thinking maybe it's a different one, but it's not. It's the exact same one because they called me from the same place. And so, yeah, or emailed me from the same place, hey, we want to get your profile up on the CWI. So
that is so funny.
So now, anybody out there, just to clarify that, yes, if you do the PDAA, you will get a PDAA master certified if you do the master certification test. There's another general test, but it's nothing. And then they will put you on the Avery CWI, I don't know if they send you the banner and the plaque and all that like they do from the actual Avery class, but you do get on the website for it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Right.
Now, taking the two classes, are they similar in the way they test?
No.
Completely different.
The Avery test is only cars. It's completely, and honestly, I haven't, okay, you want to talk about certifications. I don't want to badmouth any of them, and I don't want to say anything bad about any of them, but I will give you pros and cons of all of them.
I want pros and cons just because listeners that are either looking to get certified or new businesses that are sparking that listen to the podcast are debating on getting certified or even which one to take. I mean, this is a daily topic. Well, not daily, but maybe a weekly topic that I have with someone on a DM. A random person. Hey, looking to get in the industry. You got any tips? Yeah, go take a class. You know what I mean? First, make sure you like what you're doing and because at the end of the day, it's an investment. From start to finish, it's an investment. You can't just start putting vinyl on and be an installer, after your first one, you know what I mean? So,
I mean, there are people that can. It's amazing to me when you find that person that just can do it.
That just gets it, right?
Yeah, he just gets it right out the gate, and he starts showing me stuff. It is the weirdest thing sometimes, but you definitely need to touch it. And I will say the classes themselves are the way to go. You need to go take a class because you get to use their vinyl. You're not buying a roll of material and screwing it up on your own. You got to go use their vinyl. And you're around pros, not only the guys teaching the class, but you'll get other guys coming in there that are just trying to learn some new tips that they, just coming. Like I think Austin said he goes to every time it's at his site. He sits through it because he learns something every time. So you do have people like that. I know a guy in Colorado Springs who goes to every class because he learned something from someone else in the class or even from the teacher every time he goes. So you're going to learn something there from pros that are attending the class as well as the people teaching the class. And you're going to, you get to mess with free vinyl. It's not like work at all. Some of the people in the class they're nervous and everything. And I don't understand why. The certification part I understand, but just the training classes, there's no reason to be nervous. Get your hands on some vinyl. They don't want to look bad, I think. Get your hands on some vinyl. Burn the vinyl. See what it takes to burn it. That's the first thing my wife did when we got married. And I told her what I did and everything. She goes, I really want to try it and I want to do stuff. She goes, and she sees me with the torch doing this stuff. And she says, okay, where's a piece of scrap? What can I do? And I was like, here's a piece right here. And she says, you don't need this at all. And I said, no. And she goes, okay. And she sat there and burned it on purpose because she needed to see where the burn, at what point it burned. How long could you hold that torch before you run the vinyl?
Yeah, the threshold. So,
so do that. Go to the class and do that stuff to their material they're providing for you. Yes, you're paying, but you're getting free stuff too. They give you tools, they give you material, they give you everything. So it's like going and getting experience with it's a wash to me. It's free. Yeah. Because you paid, but you get stuff.
You get stuff at the end.
And the information you get, you're probably gaining way more than you spent with all the information that you get from the people there. So as far as training classes, take them all. Take anyone that comes to your town. I don't use a lot of Hexus, and Hexus came to Colorado Springs, and I said, I got to go take that. And Albert, you need to interview Albert, by the way. Albert he just says things that just make sense. Things that you might even know because you've been rapping forever. He says them in a way that you've never thought of, that every time I'm in that position now, I hear Albert telling me the things that he told me. And
it's like a little angel telling you on your shoulder, hey, remember this?
Yeah, I've had a problem training people because I'm a get out of the way and let me do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so for him to tell me, like, I know what to do when I get to a point. And I've had people ask me, how'd you know to do that? I don't know. I just feel it. I do it.
Right.
He told me something when we were doing it, and that's what you do. He was telling the people in the class, but he told them, and I was like, every time I get to that situation where I just do it, but I hear him say it too in the back.
Right.
So so like, he's a great guy. He's a great trainer, great guy, just super calm. Like, you won't be nervous around him if you're nervous to be around a guy. So if the Hexas class, same thing with Carl. Carl, I think, does it. Carl Brewer does it in California. And if he's doing the class, you're going to learn a ton. And that material, you need to take a class to work with. It's rough. It's different than anything else. Every material is different, but that one for sure, if you're going to use it, you got to take their class to figure out how to work with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, every little piece of vinyl works in different ways because of the technology. And, you know, in order to figure, and this is what I hate asking, like, what's your favorite brand? I stopped asking that just because I know everybody uses a lot of everything. And you don't want to say, yeah, I'm a 3M guy or I'm an Avery guy. Like, you know, you're going to put on whatever you're going to put on based on what the client may want at the end of the day.
Right.
If the client says specifically, I need 3M on this vehicle just because I need the warranty. I need this. I need that. I don't want Avery.
That's what they've heard of.
Yes. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks because 3M has such a hold on the market right now.
They do.
I think Avery's a really close second. Like, it's like right there. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like them both equally. But if I had to choose, I'd probably go with Avery.
Well, you know, and I got to tell you, I agree as far as from an install point.
Yes, install technology wise, they've definitely upped the ante the way the material works. Right,
but removal, they still got some problems. We used to, you know, I date myself because I go back 20 years doing this stuff, and we do a lot of removal, you know, thousands of trailers, hundreds, thousands, whatever. I don't even know how many trailers we've removed and installed and stuff.
Oof.
And, and if we knew it was Avery, like, and that's still one of the questions that's asked. What material is it and how long has it been on? Because it's all dependent on that. If it's Avery, we doubled our price because Avery does not come off the same. And I wrapped my wife's RAV4 2 years ago. It's a 2014. No, 2000. It is a 2014 RAV4, I think, but we wrapped it 2 years ago in the Color Flow when it first came out, the satin Color Flow.
Yeah.
And it's never been garaged. She doesn't take care of it. She doesn't wash it. It's, you know, it was pretty stained. It was kind of even cooked a little bit on the back. Horizontal surfaces in Colorado, we're high desert is what they call it. So we don't get much of a warranty, but it left a lot of, it was not easy removal at all. I mean, it was tough. It took two of us probably about 4 hours. So 8 hours to remove, a little RAV4 of Avery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just the adhesive was left.
A lot of adhesive was left. Yes. It left quite a bit.
Wow.
And I've removed Avery on cars that have been garaged and waxed every day, every other day, whatever, and been on for a year, and it falls off. I mean, you could rip the whole sheet, a whole panel off. You know, it's great. It is great if it's taken care of, but just out there in the elements, no good. You know, and
that's normal wear and tear too on a wrap. People aren't gonna wash it. Right. You basically got the full boat. Basically, what you're gonna get, worst case scenario.
Yeah, well, not worst case. We had another install or removal. I think I showed you that, but that was, I'm not even sure what material that was. It had an Avery glue pattern, but it was really light adhesive, like an Oracal adhesive. But on that Vidmar, I don't know if you saw that on my Instagram. That was horror story removal. Yeah,
that was a hood, wasn't it?
Yeah. The whole wrap was getting pretty cooked, and all they wanted to replace was the hood. But whatever.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I think they're probably about ready to get a different van, and so they just wanted that one, the ugliest piece that everybody could see roll. You know,
I was going to say, so I mean, how bad was I mean, to replace that hood, it was green. I'm sure the sides were just like burnt green at this point.
Yeah, we actually covered like 3 inches over the front fenders to cover the part that was burnt too, you know, just for, so it's a temporary fix, I'm sure, that they wanted on that van. But, honestly, that, you know, that was worst case scenario. That thing, I had to mix up a cocktail of chemicals that, yeah, would have burned down my shop probably. It was just to get it softened up enough to scrape off. It was horrible. And then I had to rubber wheel the whole edge first of all, the chemical I used because of the laminate on there only took the laminate off first. And then I had to spray it again and take off the vinyl side. So
Oh my
that
God.
was fun. Yeah.
And how long did that take you?
I was close to 4 hours total stripping and then installing the new one on that hood. Should have just bought a new hood. Really,
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, for the cost of removing the stupid thing, you could have put in a claim, got the hood in faster than doing what you did.
Yeah, for sure.
That's insane. Yeah. Sometimes you wonder, do you try to skew people, skew customers sometimes when they come in with something like that?
I do. I definitely do. I wasn't there. That's some of the employee problems we talked about. Yes, that should have been sold differently. But,
yeah.
I mean, it was still sold right. They told them, that's horrible and it's going to cost you per hour. I don't know how many hours. So, yeah.
I mean, you got paid. You got paid for it. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you got paid for it. They got what they wanted. You got what you wanted, and win-win. Yep. At the end of the day,
those are the days you question your career, though, for sure.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I want to know your backstory. How did you get into the industry?
Man. My backstory actually starts up in New England. Kind of crazy. Up in your neck of the woods.
How ironic.
Yeah. Not me personally. I wasn't up there, but a company called Mr. Signs. I have no idea if they're still around. Portland, Maine, I believe, is where they were. The guy worked for him for a couple of years. I think the guy's name was Carl, and he was the owner, boss, whatever. His right hand man, John, moved out here to Colorado to be closer to the family because he had a baby on the way.
Mm-hmm.
30 years old, comes out here to start basically a Mr. Signs Colorado, the branch of that business up there. And at the time, this was 1997. They were doing like just mostly fleet lettering, changeover stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what else they did at their shop. I never ever talked to the guy Carl or went to their shop, even though we went to Maine several times. So anyways, he moved to Colorado, hired my cousin because he lived in the same town. Somehow, just sheer luck, met my cousin, whatever. Hired my cousin. My cousin's mom called me and said, "What are you doing now?" And I had just got out of high school and I was working at a mechanic shop that I worked at all through high school. And I said, I'm still turning wrenches. And she says, "Well, your cousin got a job and it's pretty cool. Travel's paid for, food's paid for." And I was like, what's he doing? Well, putting stickers like on UPS trucks. And I was like, that sounds awesome. Because actually I took college classes, through the high school. Like you go to college half the day and then you go to high school for my junior and senior year.
Yeah.
And I did it for auto body. I wanted to learn. I had a 59 Chevy truck and I wanted to fix it up. It had a lot of cancer on it and I wanted to fix it up. So I took this class, found out right away I didn't want to be a body man. Didn't like it. I liked mechanics better than body. But I learned a lot of stuff. And the funny thing is we built a complete car. It was wrecked in the back. We drilled the spot welds, pulled it all apart, put the other one, got another piece from the junkyard, drilled all the spot welds, saved the parts we needed, put the rear end on, welded it, primed it, painted it, bonded it, did all the work. After it was painted, one of the teacher's assistants or whatever, he says, "All right, guys, you ready to see the big money?" He says, "Here you go." And we go out there and we pinstriped it.
Really?
And he says that was $100. And I kind of balked at it at the time. And, I turned out to be just like a glorified pinstriper after that. It really, the guy was onto something, in 94, 95 is when I was in those classes.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling us this is where this is going. Look, we put a sticker on this and and that's $100. That's the biggest profit margin of everything you guys did to this car.
Wow.
And so it turns out, that's what I ended up doing. But back to John. His name is John Turley. He moved out here. They shortly parted ways, him and Mr. Signs back there, and he started a company called Interstate Graphics here in Colorado. And my first day on the job, I passed up my cousin. We were doing reflective removal. And he was, John came out here knowing what he knew from back in the New England area.
New England,
and,
yeah.
Right. You pull the vinyl off, and you've left all the adhesive, because on reflective, it's like layers, and it's really aggressive. It's nasty.
Right.
It's like, so you pull the front off, and then you spray this stuff on here, and then you scrape it with this orange, or with this gold squeegee, and then you spray it again, you let it sit, and then you scrape it again, and then you scrub it with this, and then you wash it off, right? There's a whole setup. So, and with heat guns at the time. So I'm there heating my side. We're doing these little pickups, and they have like a shield. It was Denver burglar alarm. And I'm heating it with the heat gun, and I'm pulling it, and I don't know if I zoned out or just wanted to heat it hotter just to see if I could pull it easier or whatever. And when I got a spot hotter and I pulled it at an angle, it pulled the glue with it. And so I'm over there. So my first day, I passed my cousin up. I'm over there pulling these shields off, pulling 90% of the glue, and having hardly any time scraping and removing glue, and moving on. I'm doing 4 trucks to his 1 truck,
Wow.
And so he didn't last long. He, on a big FedEx job, John ended up letting him go, and told him if we had more time, he'd love to spend time training with him, whatever. But, I felt bad, cause I ended up taking over, and I was the main guy for 6 years, I think. When I left, we had 12 guys.
Goodness.
Yeah. And the way I left, it was kind of bad. We parted ways in a bad way. He had an exit plan, and I was his biggest expense. And after I had trained 12 guys and done stuff all over the country, I went to working for him. I had been to every state except for Alaska, Hawaii, and Michigan. And we actually did a job in Puerto Rico.
Wow. And
is
this
Patrick
a lot?
Ewing in Puerto Rico. It was amazing.
Now you're putting stuff on and taking it off for him.
Yeah. So starting out, yes, I wasn't even allowed to touch anything install, because even my boss wasn't comfortable with install, and it was expensive.
Right. Back then.
We're doing reflective removal, and I think it was silkscreen, probably reflective install for ADT security or whatever, right? So we're doing this, and the first job I went on the road with him was in Chicago, and it's kind of a funny story up there. He put on a big piece of reflective, and he messed it up. He wrinkled it on the side of a van, on the side of a Chevy, I think it was an Astro van, and he had to pull it off, and he was so mad. And basically, me and his nephew were there doing the removal and prep, and he was doing all the install. And so we would be done and just trying to help him as much as we could, but he was so don't touch anything. But the funny part is he's pulling the vinyl off, and he's so mad at himself. And if you could picture, he's got his fist wrapped all up in the vinyl, pulling it towards himself, and the vinyl breaks, and he punched himself in the face like a full on punch, almost knocked himself out. And it's just, yeah. And I've had other similar cases where one of the girls working for me was pulling pre-mask on a pump skirt on a gas pump, and the pump came loose. It wasn't locked together. It came loose and hit her and knocked her out, actually, at the gas station. So,
oh my God.
It's a dangerous job sometimes if you're pulling and not paying attention. I've hit myself before, but I've never been in the position for something to break and me punch myself in the face.
That's one of those ones that you wish it was recorded to send to funniest home videos, man, or something.
Yeah, it was awesome. And anyway, so we did, we started doing that stuff, and we got a name for ourselves. There's a lot of people out there still remember John. John has a really good name. He was a great businessman. He couldn't do a lot himself. He really did. He sat at his office, and I ran I didn't run his business, but I did everything. I mean, I went all over the place.
Wow.
And 3M would have me go out and do a prototype on something. I remember going to Ontario, California to do a Popeyes, and they wanted me to put this vinyl on the stucco.
Wow. And
I said, are you kidding me? And they said, no, you put this vinyl on the stucco, and you just got to heat it up really good and roll it in there and everything. And it had the really thick street laminate. And I was like, how is this going to stay? I think what they were hoping was it formed to the stucco and then wouldn't pop up.
Right.
And I put this stuff on, and I called John and told him, hey, this thing's going to fall off tomorrow. And he says, no, he says, we've talked all through it. The guy from 3M called me, told me what to do. I did it. Next day it fell off. So, I mean, yeah, that was the R&R, you know, I put it on. I told him it's not going to stay. I could tell by how it's going on. It's not going to stay, but you know, that as well as everybody knows, they've fixed all that. They have a great product now. And what they found out was a thinner, stiffer,
conformable
right.
laminate. Yeah.
Well, yeah, for their first one was really thin, but brittle, like stiff. Then now they're using just the Envision because it is just conformable and it stays that shape because it doesn't have a memory. So that's how they fixed it now. But you know, over the years they've done a lot. But you know, I used to get flown to do that kind of stuff, flown out to do prototypes. I still kind of do. I went out to Santa Barbara and did a prototype for a gas station company out there, just to make sure everything went smooth and make sure they could get the account and everything. So,
and just to note, these are the small perks that you get by being 3M certified, having these other jobs.
At the time I was not. In '99, I took a 3M training class. It was a basic and advanced training class put on by, I can't remember the guy's name. The funny thing about it is his whole claim to fame was he had wrapped a Via Cross. Do you remember the Via Crosses?
A Via Cross?
Yeah, it's usually Via Cross. They didn't make a lot of them. They're really weird shape. They have a big hump in the back for the spare tire underneath, like a fiberglass hump, which was a hard thing to wrap back then. You know? But that was his whole claim to fame. And so he was there teaching us a wrap class and everything. And I learned a lot at that class, but I was a young punk kid. And of course we went to the truck and grabbed our photo album is what we carried around with us. Because you used to have to take pictures with disposable cameras, and my boss would buy us one and one to send to the client, because the client, they didn't want us to develop the pictures and only send them the pictures that were good.
Yeah.
So we had to send them the whole camera. So
that way there was no confusion that something was not wrong.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And so, yeah. And we do, it's one of the best things I could tell anybody is you mess something up, take a picture of it. Yep. Because you have that proof. You can explain it. You can show your client, this is what happened. This is how bad it was. Because people, when they call and complain about stuff, will embellish, and they'll make it sound worse than it is. So you take a picture of what you messed up, and if you think it's okay and it's going to make it, then, you know, don't worry about fixing it. Just take a picture so that if somebody does complain, you show your client, this is what it was. If you really need it redone, here you go. But you know, it wasn't that bad. But it's also a good learning tool too. I show a lot of my guys some of the stuff that some of the other guys have done so that they will not do it. You know, so I take pictures of good things, and I take a lot of pictures of bad things. So.
Good, definitely good advice right there as far as keeping tabs of what you're doing as well. I know a lot of people don't even take pictures of some of their work. It's like, okay, but how now if that client came back and said, listen, I have a scratch here. It wasn't here when I dropped it off, and it's not documented. It's no photograph. Those types of things come back and bite you in the ass.
Oh yeah. We try. The people try to blame us for stuff all the time. They window tint especially. They
cut
they don't
the window.
They don't see the scratches on their window until the tint's on it, because it makes it darker, of course. And you're like, we wore your window out in that pattern up and down. Yeah, sure. And then some guy came in one time and said that we cut his glass, and he rolls down his window and shows me it's a laminated window. It's two pieces of, you know, and I'm like, how would we even do that?
Right.
Like, how would our knife, yeah. Anyways, we're getting way off topic here.
No, dude, it's the shit that we all go through that a lot of us don't. None of us talk about it, but it's nice to get it out. It's almost this is almost like therapy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
To get the frustrations out.
I vent plenty. Yeah.
That's so funny.
My wife's probably tired of hearing most of it.
You know, it's funny though. You bring up the whole window tint and stuff. I actually just did an install for a good friend of mine, just helping him out. He's got like a Mercedes wagon, and he wanted me to do a chrome delete. Well, if you know the chrome delete on the Mercedes wagon, it literally goes from the back glass to the front door, one piece across the top. It's 10 feet, easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm cleaning, I'm wiping it, getting behind the chrome, piece and whatnot, and I see these like little scratch lines, like probably, I don't know, maybe every foot, maybe 16 inches. And I'm like, that's weird. I look at the other side, same thing. So I called him over. I was like, hey, listen, because I knew I was going to have to blade drag behind it. And I didn't want him to think I just kind of ran my blade across the top of the molding. I'm like, listen, dude, there's scratches here. He's like, yeah, dude, I already know. It was my fucking tint guy. And I'm like, why the hell would he have the tint all the way the fuck up here? He's like, I already talked to him about it. I know it's not you. I know you wouldn't do that. Wow. But you know what? At the end of the day, could he have said something? Sure. Could I have justified it after? 100%. Just because I knew my orientation of my blade was facing down and not towards the car the whole entire time. So, I mean, not that it would have gotten weird, but if that was an ordinary client and he wanted to go there, he absolutely could, because I didn't say something.
Oh yeah, they'll all try it. I mean, well, not all of them. I shouldn't say that, but most of them will try it. You can, if you call them up and tell them, hey, this is scratched here, and they argue with you until they'll come down and look at it, and as soon as they see it, and you haven't even done anything to their car yet, they'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that was there. But if you wait till after, they're going to come back and say this wasn't there. Yep. And they're going to try to get it out of you. So a lot of customers, I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them, they really do think they really think you're an idiot. Or maybe they just don't, like on the window tint, I think they just don't notice until their windows are dark.
Right.
Then they see it all. They see all the flaws that were there. But
that's so funny.
I don't know. People always trying to get something, I don't know.
It's always when the bills do.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Hey,
oh man,
I noticed this. What can you take $100 off?
Right?
Can you take $100 off?
Yeah, my wife one time that we did some bed bands on this guy's truck, and he comes in to pay, and he says, and then they're all, hey, what do you think? And he says, I like them. I just wish they were the same.
Oh,
she says, what do you mean? She says, what do you mean the same? And he says, well, one side's like way different than the other. It's higher. And she goes, well, let's go see with the tape. And he goes, no, that's it. He goes, I would rather just, just give me a discount.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, hold on 1 second. We'll just take them off.
Yeah.
And he starts freaking out. And no, I'll just pay. Because she's tired of it. And she's like, we'll just take it off. But I'll eat the vinyl before I give you a discount.
100%.
On your lying ass.
100%. Yep. I totally agree with you on that. Yep. And I honestly think a lot of our listeners will too. I'd rather rip the vinyl off than give you a discount. I'd rather eat the whole thing than give you a discount.
One of the things we were talking about the other day is I'd like to know how many people have repoed vinyl, because I did a back of, I've done several where I've wanted to, but I did the back of a race car trailer. The guy was so full of it. Oh, this, so that, whatever. We put our logo on it, everything. We gave him a deal, and he said he'd be in the next day to pay, and had this whole excuse about he went to Dubai and he's a bounty hunter and for the federal, all kinds of stuff, right?
Jesus.
I know right where the trailer's sitting, or it's an old tool truck, but it has one of the big loading gates on the back, and that's what we wrapped it.
Yeah.
I know right where it's sitting. I'd love to just go repo it. I just don't know it's probably not legal. It'd be trespassing. It'd be destruction of property, whatever. But right. I'm just wondering, when they don't pay, you send them to collections, the whole works. Can you go repo that? Because I'd love to.
I don't think so. I was a constable for 2 years here in Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did a lot of not me physically repossessions, but I was doing repossession orders. So there was always a constable upon the repossession with the tow truck company, and I'd be a little extra security for the tow truck company. To make sure everything went smooth, show them the documents. So we either get hired through the bank or we got hired through the loan company to repossess the vehicle. I did a lot of repossessions. I did a lot of did a ton of stuff like that. I think legally you can't repossess anything because you physically don't own anything at that point.
Right.
Once it's
Right.
on
It should have
the
never
vehicle.
left my shop. Yeah.
Well, what I always recommend is, and I got burnt once and I would never do it again. I had the vehicle outside, kind of like showcasing it outside the shop, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, no.
Common area, not on my property, not anything. Guy ends up not wanting to pay the bill.
Yep.
Now, physically, I cannot remove that because it's not in my it's not on my property anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
you know, what I'm kind of stuck between two rocks and a hard place. So I learned, being a constable after, I learned if that vehicle is still in my garage, they can't even take their own vehicle out of my garage.
Until they pay their bill.
Till they pay their bill. You know what I mean?
And that's what we did a motorcycle the other day, and we just did some flames. This girl wanted their pink with the Galaxy, whatever, the 3M Galaxy on top.
The shift,
and, yeah. So the girl, she picked the colors. It was her bike. It's a big old Harley and everything. And her husband comes in and says, "We're here to see the bike or whatever." And she goes, "Oh, okay. Here's your bill." And he goes, "Well, what if we don't like it?" And she goes, "Well, it's exactly what you asked for, so you're gonna like it." And and he's like, "Well, I'm not paying until I see it, because if I don't like it, I'm not paying for it." And my receptionist, you know, she's rather new, so she didn't know. But like I told her, I said, next time you just tell them, "Well, you don't like it, it doesn't leave my shop till it's paid for, so it doesn't matter. You might as well pay now."
Right.
You know? And they went over there. She loved it, everything. He came back and made jokes about not paying and everything. And I'm like, I don't like the public side of it. I don't deal with customers a lot anymore.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know. I handle it okay, I guess, like when the time comes, but,
when you have to get
I'd rather not.
into the mode, you have no problem flipping that switch.
Yeah. Well, but yeah.
Well, I mean, that's with anybody.
There's a fine line, though. There's a fine line.
I know. You know, you gotta be professional at the end of the day, because you're running a business, and especially if it's someone in town, you don't want to be that guy. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We have built ours on our business on reputation. We have a great reputation in our town. We have a great reputation in the state. We get the Porsche that I just wrapped came from Colorado Springs. We get people bringing stuff from Aspen, from Denver. I get asked to come to Denver all the time to do people's wraps. They want me to do them in their garage, you know, and I'm like, no, get a ride, bring it down, you know, or use one of my guys up here that, you know, I've got several subs up here I refer people to for color change, stuff like that, you know, but I get them, they bring them from all around. I got these guys going to bring me a car from Albuquerque. So
wow.
That's 5 hours for them to bring it up. And they're like, we'll bring it up to you to wrap it. So.
That's awesome.
You know, we have a good reputation, and all it takes is one. One guy that's got a good following or really bad mouths you on social media even. Yep. And it could hurt. It's not going to ruin you, you know, because you could always rebuttal, but it could hurt, you know. And the Better Business Bureau, anybody who just wants to go out and do it, they can. They could bring your 5-star rating down, you know. I don't have a 5-star rating, I think, on Facebook because one of my subs who has no problem with me or everything doesn't give 5-star ratings. So she gave me a 4. And I said, "What? Just don't do it then. You brought down my whole rating because you did that." Right.
Because of that one.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, "I don't give anybody 5 stars." I'm like, "Well, then just don't touch it."
How about you just tell me verbally you'll give me 4. Or give me 4.
I'll take your 4 stars.
Yeah. Write the 4 stars on a piece of paper and mail it to me, so I can put it on my wall.
Yeah, but you know, a disgruntled person with a 1-star rating or something could bring all that down. And then when people are looking, and you know, here's another shop in town that has a 4.5, and this guy's got a 4.0 because he has one person gave him or 2 people, whatever. You know, so I try to handle the people good so that at least we don't get that kind of stuff. Yeah. You know, when they come in asking for stuff for free and want stuff fixed that, you know, wasn't wrong and everything, then I'm not rude, but I take care of it. You know, I show pictures, we cover our butts. But as far as the people that, you know, if all they're asking for is one more sticker or they want it a little bit bigger, or something. You know, if it's I don't mind doing some of that stuff. Like you could tell when people are taking advantage of you and when they really don't like something.
Well,
you know,
it's the power of saying no at some jobs. You know what I mean? If you can read a person really well, I always knew within the first, I don't know, 3 minutes of talking to somebody, a new client shows up to the door or a recommendation, I could tell exactly what they're going to get out of this conversation within the first 3 seconds or 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Whether this is either going to go okay or you're just going to leave here and I'm not going to do any work because I'm going to have to decline it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You just know. And that's just people reading. And those are skills that a lot of like people like us, like we just want to work. You know what I mean? We just want to do the work. We don't want to deal too much paperwork. We don't want to deal with the clients. But you really have to know how to deal with the customer in that customer service side and how to read them, whether they're coming in to be a tire kicker, whether they're coming in to ask good information, asking good questions about the product so they want to be educated, or they're just coming in and curious. They want to quote. You can judge it really, really quick. And I think sometimes we take in jobs that we probably should have said no to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
You know?
Yep. Every day.
Every day.
I think so. I think every day.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's all, you know what? The good outweighs the bad. And
yeah, definitely. And I love this job.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you're putting stickers on a car or on a sign or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know, and you get to travel the world. Unless you were like in military or some type of selling business where you had to travel, what other company would you be able to? I wouldn't even have thought this specific industry would entail like everybody like kind of moving around different states, different locations.
They do. Yeah. And there's always a big job somewhere, you know, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I guess to get back, I don't want to cut you off or anything, but get back on the story because we got way off on a tangent there.
Oh yeah. No, but that's okay though. I don't mind.
So yeah, exactly. I just noticed we've been on this a little over an hour already. So and I got a lot to say. So
and then I got all the time. I got all the time.
Oh man. Yeah. All right. So working for John Turley Interstate Graphics over a span of about 6 years, 5-6 years, we did jobs everywhere. I mean, we hired college kids on the summer to do removal on huge rider trucks, like 100 rider trucks removal, and then I did all the install, they did all the removal. I mean, we did these crazy big fleet jobs, and I know one of the other podcast, Austin was talking about that people that have been wrapping for, they say 20 years and stuff. They weren't really wrapping. They were just putting that in with putting stickers on, like cut decals and stuff like that.
Right.
And I can honestly tell you, it's not 20 years. It's like 19, 18. My first wrap was a 1999 Dodge Drago.
Wow.
And it was for Nescafe, and we did about 5 of them. And it was not bad. It wasn't too hard. We started wrapping PT Cruisers in, I think it was 2001, 2002 was the first year of those.
Jesus.
For Coors in Colorado here. We wrapped like 10 of those.
Wow.
We wrapped a lot of things, Tahoes, a lot of vans, semis. I did corrugated 53-foot semis for McLean Food Service. Oh my God. I think we did 100 of those.
And what type of material were you using?
It was all 3M 180 before air egress, and
like the V1, the version 1.
I don't even know if it was called version 1. What it was, it's the original. I think they might even still make it. It had no air egress in '99 when we did the class for 3M, when we did the little training class.
Mm-hmm.
They brought out this piece of vinyl and they put it on the trailer surface and created bubbles on purpose, and then showed us how we could how you just push them out with your hand. And me and the other guy that were in the class sitting together, we looked at each other and we said, there goes the business.
Yep.
There goes the industry. That's what we said. And honestly, that's what happened. There was 4 of us on a PT Cruiser and we each walked away with $1,000. I don't know what my boss did, and now you can't charge that. I think the first rep our company did, I wasn't involved with, but it was in, Florida for some zoo or something. They talked about $10,000 for the install on it.
Wow.
And that was 97, 98, somewhere right around there. Right when we first started, we sent some people down there to do it. And that's what I heard was the price for just the install on that. So, I mean, the money used to be there crazy. And then we looked at each other and said, there goes the industry. And as things started progressing and we told our boss, we told everybody about it, what it was, we started calling it, we nicknamed it monkey vinyl because it's so easy a monkey could do it. and we had people that worked for us that went to work for other companies when we closed, and they called me up and said, why did you made me look like an idiot? Cause I asked them if it was monkey vinyl, and they said, what's monkey vinyl?
Oh my goodness. That's so funny.
We'd show up on a job, and yes, we knew it was gonna be easier, and it was gonna make the price go down, and it was gonna make a lot more people think they can rap and actually can do it. Because I watch some people now that rap and they have no technique. They squeegee this random, like just all over the place, and because this material is like that, you can get away with it.
Right?
You couldn't do that before. You have to have a technique. And, before they had all this nice air regress, I love it. I'm not going to badmouth it. I mean, I love where the industry's gone, but the skill set for it has definitely,
gotten easier.
It has. And it's great because it does make my job easier. And so you make up your money, I guess, in speed. It's a little faster now. So
yeah. I mean, once you've mastered that technique, it's just applying it to whatever product you're installing, especially if you're coming from a non air regress to an air regress. Now your time should be half. You know what I mean? It definitely
cuts your time in half. You don't have to. Yeah, you just have to pull it up or pop a bubble or pull your pre-mask to get your wrinkle out. Yep. I mean, I still do installs. People still use that you guys have talked about before, liquid laminate with pre-mask.
Yeah.
There's companies out there still do it. And if you get a wrinkle, you just don't push it with the pre-mask. You fight the urge, because as soon as you pull the pre-mask, you can push it right out with your fingernails gone.
Exactly.
But if you try to push it down with the pre-mask, it's permanent. And, people don't know that and everything, but that's what I cut my teeth on. We used to wrap cars and that stuff. And I think that's why I see what I see now with people, how good they are. And all these new techniques of starting in the harder places and everything and stretching the whole piece and all these different things that I've learned mostly in the last few years, is because we used to have to put the majority on with the pre-mask. And then when you got to the hard part, you pull the pre-mask and you stretch and pull that last little bit.
Right.
Because you couldn't pull the pre-mask on that whole piece of vinyl. It's too thin.
You'd lose it.
So.
Yeah.
And you'd rip it. Something would happen bad. So that's where there's a transition from there to the new material that was harder. And I've seen it on other installers that I've worked with that have been doing it 15, 16 years, whatever, that, on the newer stuff, they're still using older techniques. They haven't tried to go out and learn this new stuff. And honestly, I was like that. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of thinking I've been doing this forever. Who's going to teach me whatever? Who's going to teach me anything?
Right.
And honestly, it's a huge eye opener, especially social media, seeing some things on there. It's amazing. The kids, I call them kids because they're kids. They're coming up with some techniques that are just, they think outside the box, and it's amazing, and it works great. And it makes everybody's job easier. It's just, so they have great techniques. The biggest problem I have, I guess, with the newer generation, like we were talking about earlier too, is their work ethics and their I guess not dedication. It's something else that Austin talked about on his podcast as well. Something I wanted to bring up, and I was kind of disappointed that he did it first. But whatever. It's a great minds think alike, I guess. I don't know him personally. I really look forward to meeting him because he sounds just like he's just a straight shooter, just a pretty bright guy.
Yeah.
But he was saying that just because you're a good installer doesn't mean you're a good business person.
Right.
And that's exactly it. A lot of I shouldn't say most, but a lot of installers, they're great installers, and there's a company in Denver, I won't name it, but they hire anybody and they train them and they treat them like shit, and they all go out and start their own installation company. There is so many, and it's probably like this all over the country, but in Denver especially, there is so many one-man installation companies, and most of them are guys that, some of them are very dedicated. I got some really good friends that install, that are great, they're good for you, everything. But some of them, they make enough money to go bumming in the mountains, go do what they want to do. And that's the great thing about, and that's the draw to this business, is that you can have some freedom. The problem is if you're trying to run an actual business and depend on subs and depend on things like that, you don't have those to depend on, because as soon as you pay them, they go MIA for a month.
Right.
You can't get a hold of them because they got a little money in their pocket. They're doing what they want to do, which is great. I'm not going to badmouth that one bit, but it's hard as a guy looking for subs. And I have rules with my subs. I go on the job with them the first time. They don't do a job for me until I work with them anywhere in the country. If I need a job sub, I can't trust anybody. I don't care if you're in any network. I've had guys in certain networks do things that are just ridiculous. I've had guys hand out cards on my job site of promoting their business in front of me. That's in front of me. What are they going to do if I'm not there?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not scared they're going to take my clients, but to me, that's just it's not even, that's, as far as work ethics, that's zero. There's no work ethics there. You're trying to promote your own business on my time, on my job to my client.
Right. Right. And you're paying them to be there to do a job. Just do the job and be done. Don't start soliciting your own stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not like a Nazi telling you don't wear your shirt. Don't you do this. Don't you, but that's just that to me, that one's a common sense. You don't promote your business on my job site,
That'd be the that's first and last,
exactly,
job.
Exactly. And that's what I have a one strike. And people have told me, I give 3 strikes, give whatever. I have a 1 strike. If I go to work with you and you should be putting on your best, your best, showing your best to me, right? When I'm there with using you as a sub, I'm paying you and you're trying to be a sub for me. You would think I'd be getting your best. And if that's your best, then I can't use you because, as soon as I'm gone, if it's worse, and that goes for quality of install. That goes for everything. I mean, you show up in flip-flops and shorts, to get up on a ladder and do stuff. No, that's not going to work. You promote your business. You bring a drink, you're loud, you're on your phone the whole time. It's just, there's so many things. And that's one of there's great installers out there that I can't use because they don't know what they're doing as far as running their own business. And I can't use them as a sub even, and it comes back to the certifications. I was going to tell you, pros and cons. We're kind of taking it full circle, but the cons that I have against Avery is that they don't require you to show any proof of insurance. And
really,
to me, anyone can go take that and get a certification and be Avery certified. 3M, I mean, they might have changed it since I did it, but they never asked me for any of that. You can, now, I will say, and it's a little bit tricky, 3M will let you go take the test. They'll let you pay for it, but they will not mail you your certification until you show them insurance.
Really?
Until you get it sent to. Yeah. So that's a little bit underhanded. PDAA, same thing. You have to show all that after you take the test. They'll accept your payment. They'll let you go do all that. And then also, and I've talked to Ray at the PDA and everything about changing some stuff there because they don't tell you about some other fees that you have to pay. That you pay for the test and you pay for your membership. And then after you take the test and everything, before they'll give you the certification and put you on the website, you have to pay another one. And so none of that's on their homepage. So, do a little research. They're supposed to be changing that. I had it out, not had it out, but we had some discussions about it, I guess, me and Ray, just about being upfront, as long as I know going into something what it's going to cost. But this just feels like once they got you, they're like, oh, he'll pay another 200. Oh, he'll pay another 200. You know what I mean? So, that's one of
which is kind of disconcerting.
It's a little sneaky, right? And the Avery wasn't like that. So you pay, you go take the class. If Justin passes you, which he's a hard ass, and I've heard John Duver's even tougher. So, I don't know him. He seems like a pretty good guy too, though. But Justin, he's a super nice guy, but he's strict. He's the strictest tester I've ever tested with. Rob Ivers, he's when I did it in 2002, he was super strict. This time when I did it, I mean, he's looking to see if you know what you're doing. He's definitely paying attention. But out of all the guys, they're all really good. Everybody that I've tested with, but Justin definitely. I mean, he's just like, if you can't do this, you can't do any more. Go home, and he will just send you home. I mean, a lot of his classes, 9 people go in and 4 come out with a certification, or 5. I don't know the numbers, but I've heard stories.
Yeah.
So,
well,
Avery's,
if you're looking for quality, not to cut you off, but if you're looking for quality, that's the type of person you want to have judging the work.
Exactly.
Whether as ruthless as it may be or as blunt as it may be, at the end of the day, he's looking out for the industry.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You can't fault him for
and
that.
I've heard stories that if you go have a cigarette with so-and-so, or you go hang out with this guy and make friends with him, he's going to pass you. It's not true. All of those guys are serious about their job. All the guys that do the testing, and they're going to, if they could see that you are capable, even if maybe you mess up a little bit in that section, they give you another chance. Sometimes they'll let you do more. That's where I guess Justin is more of a hard ass, is that he just doesn't give you you don't get a second chance. You leave and you get a second chance in a year, or within a year.
Right.
So your second chance is, look, you're not ready. Go practice more and come back, So, and that's what it should be, I think. But on the cons, like what I was talking about, is they don't require you to have that stuff. So no insurance. And then to finish the certification part off, PDAA, I get a request for a quote probably twice a month on average. 3M at least twice a month, sometimes, probably twice a month. I would say average twice a month request for quote. Avery, I've had 0. And I think it's just they don't have it out there, their website enough. I don't know. It could be the market I'm in. But I get 1080 requests from a website from 3M for 1080 wraps. I can't remember what it's called. But I get requests from those, and then I also get requests from the for commercial jobs through 3M and PDAA regularly. And I've never had a single one from Avery. So that's something they definitely need to work on, and they're probably working on it, trying to figure it out.
I think I think that Avery didn't look at it like 3M did, where they built this huge network. You get certified, and you're able to, bid on quotes that are in your local area, or if they have a big fleet like a Coca-Cola or whatever the case may be, and it's got to be in your area, they're gonna call their certified guys first. They basically built that off of the certified people who spent the money, paid, passed, got put on the list, used that as like a network for their work. I don't think Avery looked at it that way, though. They just wanted people to be certified. They didn't look at it like, oh, we got our Avery install somewhere, let's call one of the Avery guys. I don't think that was ever like the case for them. I think they just wanted to do the certification.
Okay. Well, and it is a great certification. I'm not gonna bash it at all. I just wanted to give my experiences with them. Is that I get work off the other ones. I've never got a single call or request from the Avery. So you take that with how you want to. I mean, I'll tell anybody, I will recommend them to go take that training class, that certification, whatever, because of who's teaching it and the people that would be in it. But like I said, I'd recommend any training class to anyone because you're going to learn something and you're going to get to mess with it. But at the same time, the quality that's behind the Avery one is definitely there. Just don't expect to, cause they do advertise that. They do tell you you're going to get on our network installer list. So, I mean, it is something they tell you that this is on there and people are going to find you for jobs. They do tell you that.
And I wonder why you don't get a phone call. Yeah. Well,
it could be my market. Yeah.
You think though?
It could be. I don't know. Honestly, the Avery's not that well known as far as people. Everyone knows 3M because they have their hands in everything.
Right.
So they know the name. That they know the name. Some people, you tell them I'm Avery certified, and they're like, "What's that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you tell them, see, and you even show them the samples. A sample wall with Avery, and you got a sample wall with 3M. And the Porsche guy, honestly, I pushed for Avery satin, the satin pearl white because it's so much easier. It's so much easier. And he had his heart set. He had done the research. He looked at whatever and he wanted 3M, and they're close enough color. I wanted to pull the old switcheroo and I didn't. I was like, no, I can't do that because there's another shop in my town who advertises that they do 3M wraps, and I know for a fact they don't because he told me himself his first 3M wrap was on his own company truck, and that was 5 years after he opened, and he was telling everybody he did 3M.
Wow.
So, I don't want to be that guy. So I was like, all right, I'm just not going to do it. But I was like, the colors are so close and it's going to be a better product for him. He's never going to know, and it's going to be better. And I just said, no, I can't. I'll know is what the problem was.
No, you know what it is? It's that he already set you up. He already set you up for him knowing what he wanted. He told you he did the research. He knows the product. Yeah. The last thing you want is him to pull up the backer and be like, oh, this doesn't look like the same pattern. You know what I mean? And then you got to justify that nonsense. It's going to be like,
I've got pretty good morals, and I just wouldn't do that. I wanted to so bad though. I was so mad because jams and everything. I was like, oh, it's just the Avery is faster. It is a better product. I love 3M. I've done so much with 3M, and I only use digital print 3M stuff. I've done a few Avery things, but I do because of removal. I had a guy trying to talk me into Arlon. He said, oh my God, the new flight technology. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I said, how's it removed? And he goes, how many jobs do you actually remove that you print? And I said, I've been doing this 20 years. I remove stuff all the time that I installed in the past. And I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? I want to pull up and know this 3M is going to come off. I had a guy bring a trailer in one time. It's a big race trailer, 40 something foot. And he says, I want to wrap this all in white. And I said, why don't you want to just pull off the old wrap? And he goes, oh, I'm sure it's cheaper to wrap it in white. And I said, let me give you a quote. And I pulled up the side and it's 3M. And I was like, okay. I sit down and I figure out how much it'll cost to wrap it. And then I cut that in half and it's still several grand.
Right.
And I say, this is how much to remove it. This is how much to wrap it. And he goes, really? It'll be removed back to, and I say, yeah. And it looks like it's good red paint underneath. And he says, okay, let's remove it. An hour and a half, I had the whole trailer removed, clean, no adhesive. And I made that kind of money.
Big money. Yeah. Big money,
right.
Man.
So 3M is removable. It is so removable. So for my prints, I deal with it. Their CV3 has had some issues. I've changed to MC and it's got some install issues. You have to put so much more pressure. There's, right. It's just I would definitely rather install Avery all day than 3M, but, at the end of the day with my business, I'm going to trust 3M for removability in the future. So, as far as color change, hey, whatever color they pick, I've got a roll of, KPMF and a roll of Oracal right now that I'm going to do the Weiss RAV4 in. That'll be my first time doing it in my shop. In the Wrap Olympics, I got to mess with KPMF and Oracal, but I have not wrapped a car in my shop with it yet. And so my wife picked up some of that for her RAV4, and we'll be doing that as soon as I get a chance.
There you go. That's exciting, though. New material, new technique.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Are you asking around on some tips and tricks on how to use it?
I've talked to a few people, yeah, but I mean, I got to mess with it enough at the rap Olympics. You know, you just get thrown in there. Here's your racks of vinyl. You know, use what they got. And
Yeah.
we're like, well, this color's cool. We grab it and we're like, oh, this is sticky. So yeah, and Carl's been doing some stuff in California that you know, one piece. I think a one piece GTR rear bumper
I saw
with
that.
KP. So the stuff it's conformable for sure. So the RAV4 front bumper, if you're familiar with that, it's a pretty complex bumper. So I'm really curious. I had to do inlays with the Avery, but I'm really curious if I can one piece and have it last with the KPMF. So
Yeah. That's always the make or break thing. It's, you know, debating on whether you should do an inlay or try to take your chances on doing it one piece.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, for my customers, I inlay everything. This is for me. This is my wife's car. I'm gonna one piece it, and we're gonna, you know, it's testing, right? I put this crazy neochrome stuff on my headlights. That was straight up testing. You know, people asked me, they wanted it, and I said no. I bought this stuff and I'm testing it. Halfway through Texas in the middle of the night, I almost hit a deer because my headlights weren't bright enough. I went out and ripped it off and it was coming apart.
wow.
So I can't offer that to my customers. You know, I'll put a lot of stuff on my vehicles, but I will not offer my customers until I've tested it. You know, a lot of these companies, they product test everything. That's fine. But, you know, when you're pushing the limits or you're trying something that you don't know for sure, that nobody else has told you anything about it, or you don't know, you know, you gotta, I do enough on my own, or even my employees, they like me to test on their vehicles, put a lot of things on there, and we see how it lasts. So
yeah, peace of mind.
Yeah.
Peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you're looking for like taillight tint or headlight tint, man, the Lux product.
I gotta try that Lux. Yeah, dude, I gotta try it.
I can't even tell you how much of a game changer restyling wise.
Yeah.
That has like pushed the limits to having now a cast vinyl that's transparent that you can use it for headlight and taillight tint and even other things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I've got to see the finish on it because Vivid made one. It was horrible. It's so orange peeled and nasty. I've been using Oracal 8300 and it's tough. We just did a Pathfinder. Oh, the new Pathfinder tail lights. Oh my God. They're pretty much impossible. I mean, there's a way. I just saw somebody posted where they put black vinyl around a bunch of it and then just tinted the parts where the light comes through. And I was like, man, that's genius. I should have done that because I wrapped the whole thing and it took me forever. I lost money for sure on that job. Those taillights are horrible, especially with, you know, I got the steamer out and I'm trying to do it wet and. Yeah, when I heard that, and I had heard Lux was good a while back, but they didn't have a lot of products. It sounds like they're really expanding and doing a lot of things. So I can't wait to get a sample or try some of their stuff. And I'm not at the shop enough to offer that too much, and that's kind of small money. It's kind of a drag because we turn away a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the printers run nonstop. We'll leave them all night sometimes. I have cameras that, you know, I'll keep an eye on them if I have to. And I leave in the middle of the night to go check or to go lay something out. We're actually just buying a 365 today, I think, an HP.
Nice.
Right now we have two Mamaki CJVs. Love them to death. They've never given us any problems. I just replaced the head on the one that I've had since 2012. That's the first time I replaced the head. And it's the powder coating is wore off of the front on the heater. I mean, we use the hell out of that thing. It's been used well and we don't hardly have problems. I mean, you start having a problem, you change a capping station and you know, no problems at all. They're amazing machines. They're getting dated now. They're slower.
Yeah.
Definitely slow on the cut side. My crew still likes them just for stickers. When they can send the whole job and all they got to do at the end is punch out the perforated things and stack them up and give them to the customer, you know? So they still love that. Like we get the HP that talked my wife into getting rid of both Mamakis and getting an Oki. And she just loves having the print and cut for the stickers. So we'll keep one for sure.
Yeah, efficiency is key when it's coming to production. I know I had said on a previous podcast that, you know, my biggest mistake was not buying a separate cutter. I had an older SP 540V all-in-one, and
Right.
I ran stickers all the time, and it would take me days, thousands of stickers, days. Soon as I got a Suma cutter, yeah, because honestly, I think I got it down to like 4.5 feet by 6 feet would take me about an hour to print. You know what I mean? Yeah, the thing.
That was an old Roland, huh?
Old Roland.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a workhorse. Yes.
Yep.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh,
great product. Great.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, at the time. Exactly. But, you know, as things progress, you know, sometimes you might not have funds to upgrade, things of that nature. I had to separate the two because production was getting bogged down. Got a Suma 54, 55-inch Suma cutter. Changed my life. Changed my life completely.
Yeah. So I started out with, I only did install, right? For all the years for that guy. And when we parted ways, he actually retired and moved to Belize. Laid everybody off, right? A little while after I left, laid everybody off and retired to Belize. He's down there now. He's a real estate agent. He's been there ever since. But I went back to mechanicing. I went back to turning wrenches for a little while, met my wife, got married. And then when she was pregnant, I said, you know what? I'm out. I can make money doing vinyl again. I'm going to go back to installs. And I called around a little bit, and a lot of the customers I had dealt with and clients when I worked for him said, yeah, when he left a huge hole. We could use you. Get your stuff sent over. We'll use you. So I started again in 08. So took like 3 years off, something like that. Started back in 08 with Impact Graphics. Started a company called Impact Graphics, just installs. We do surveys too. We did we surveyed the BP stores from Florida to Canada. I had 12 people out for 12 days, made just killer money, just going around taking pictures and measurements on all the BP stores. And then when it came time, we took the two biggest markets, which were Memphis and Detroit. So one of my first jobs at the new company, I got to go to one of the states I was missing, working for my old boss. We worked all over Michigan, and Michigan is beautiful. I never knew, like all up Lake St. Clair and all that. It was amazing, amazing up there. So anyways, we started. So I started Impact Graphics, did nothing but install. My son on the way, or my son's born. I want to stay home more. I had gone to all the sign shops in town. There's quite a few in my little town. My town's like 100,000 people, and there was 6 or 7 right in like a 4-block radius, right downtown, and then a couple that were on the outskirts. But I went to all of them and told them, I could do your installs for you. And they all kind of just looked at me like, who the hell are you? And just get out. Like, they wouldn't even listen to me. They're like, we do our own. And nobody did wraps. There was one guy that was trying to do wraps, and he kind of ruined the industry in the town, by not really knowing what he did and really messed up a lot of stuff. It took me a long time to recover from that when I started my own company and started doing the production. Because, what happened is I was working for a guy who was flying guys out from Phoenix to do all of the installs. He did a lot of trailers for himself. He has an event company. Yeah. And he did a lot of stuff for himself, but he wanted to try to make that printer work to make more money too and do other jobs. So he was, trying to sell other things. So he told me one day, I started doing his installs, and he goes, this is great. I don't have to fly guys in from Phoenix. You're doing all my stuff. And he's taking me on meetings with the hospital and with all this stuff, trying to get more work. And he's treating me really good. And a lot of people told me, don't trust him. And I was like, all right, well, I'll never put anybody in a position to, really screw me. Well, a friend of mine has a plumbing and heating company, or a plumbing company, I guess, with 8 Sprinter vans at the time that were all wrapped by a company out of Florida. And he was not happy with it or anything. And when the lease was up, we were already talking about him buying them from the same company, and then I'll install them for him. Well, this guy tells me, he goes, hey, we should get that job. This guy I'm working for. And I said, dude, I could get it. He's the friend of the family. He's known me since I was born, I think. And he's wanting me to do his installs anyways. So yeah, I'll schedule a meeting. We'll sit down. So we sit down, we talk about it. I give him my price for install, he says, okay, that's fine, but we have to put it all in one bill for the leasing company. So we're going to go through the company making the graphics and stuff. So it all goes through, and he calls me one day and says, hey, I'm starting to get my vans. When are you starting on these? And I said, oh man, let me find out. Let's see if he's done printing them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I call him up, and he says, well, sorry, but, I'm going to bring my guys in from Phoenix. I haven't worked with you enough to know, what I can warranty and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, so wait a minute. I just brought you 8 full wraps, and you're telling me you're screwing me out of the whole deal? And, that was the day I bought my first printer.
Wow.
And I got online, bought a Falcon Outdoor 2 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I grabbed the trailer, drove down there, picked it up, and said, all right, I'm not letting any one of these companies do this to me again. I'm in control of my own fate. And I bought a Suma 48-inch cutter, I have an HP Aqueous printer, water-based, which didn't work for anything I needed to do. But a guy was selling it with a bunch of vinyl and a bunch of stuff. So picked it up with the whole package deal and put it all in my garage for about 2 months and realized that just going around talking to people I know, I had enough business to open a shop and opened up a shop still in the same building I was in when I opened it in 2010.
Wow.
We've expanded into the building next door. The window tinner of 30 years retired, and we got his phone number, his client, everything basically, everything but him. We had to hire a tinner, and we moved all our production to that building, and the old building is all install and, sign making and stuff. So, that's how High Res Imaging got started. That is my current company. Couple years in, we decided it's kind of a pain to have 2 companies, and the reason we did the new company under a different name is just because a lot of the companies that I work for, if you produce, they will not use you because they view you as competition because you're dealing with their customers directly.
Right.
And so some of them have rules like that, and not anymore, not too many anymore. And most of those companies are so big, I could never take anything from them if I wanted to, So we decided to just merge the 2 companies, and we stopped doing work for those other companies anyways. They started nickel and diming everybody. And, so we didn't really care. We straight out told them. They called me for work and stuff. And I said, nah, you know what? I produce now, so you don't want to use me. I'm against your rules. And they were like, well, we won't tell anybody.
Wow. I mean, yeah. They wanted to use you nonetheless, but still, looking at things, hindsight, you're looking at a bigger picture than dealing with that nightmare too,
Well, they were always, do me this favor, we'll pay you back. And then you mess up one panel and you call them up, hey, this panel got messed up, and they charge you more than retail and you're like, really? This is, they just, and then their prices kept going down. They were like, we want you to do this for $1 square foot. I'm like, what in the world?
It's highway robbery. I know a lot of people that do that though. If you mess up a panel, they're going to charge you full boat for the goddamn thing. Why do they do that? Why do they do that? I don't, the company I work for now with this, during the Circle K's and all that stuff, they don't charge me for stuff. And I do surveys for them, and maybe I got one measurement off an inch on a window on a huge job. And I call them up and I'm like, hey guys, this is, this way, whatever. And they're like, oh man, we're looking at your survey and it shows that's what it is. That's what you have written down. I'm like, well, charge me what you guys have to. They don't. They're a huge, multi-million-dollar company, and so they won't even charge me. Yeah. Right.
Because it's a drop in the bucket to them, and if I was messing stuff up all the time, I could see, they'd probably start putting me on a different list, and not using me as much. But when it does happen, they're super, they don't even charge.
Well, what I think is that being a multi-million-dollar company, they're looking at things differently. And I guarantee they have, within their contract or whatever, some type of waste or some type of,
yeah. They build in, I think 10% to every job for incidentals and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I was to mess up a whole job or something, yeah, I could see.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that they put in some type of waste material,
Right.
to compensate for something going wrong.
Right. Yeah. They're smarter. Well, not smarter, but they have the budget to do that, to put in to add that extra percentage for that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So that's the difference. When you're dealing with the small guys and you mess up a panel, it's worth it to them more to charge you full price, which kind of sucks and puts more pressure on you.
But they could wholesale it, if it's an honest mistake or something, and the other company that I am talking about, they used to be huge. I mean, they're the company that I traveled the country, doing stuff for.
Mm-hmm.
They always had the big jobs.
Right.
And I mean, they, as a company themselves, they've gone through a lot of, changes of staff and different things, and have gone way downhill. And, they were bringing guys in from Texas to do work in my backyard and like big fleets. And then they have one for a TV commercial, and they asked me to come up and remove a brand new graphics package to install the exact same package, but perfect, so that it can be on the TV commercial.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I understand my prices are a little high and you're willing to pay it for this. But if I wasn't good enough to wrap the whole fleet, what the heck? I'm only good enough to wrap the one that people are going to see. I didn't like it. It was more of an ego thing there, I guess, than a money thing. I wasn't mad about I was mad about it, I guess, that the fleet got given to someone else when it's in my backyard. I'm not good enough for that. But when you need something done right, you call me. I don't get it. So
yeah, it's almost worth not even getting into it.
Yeah. I should take it as a compliment, I guess. But at the same time, it's just why? Don't call me. Either call me for things
the whole deal.
Always
or
try to save a buck.
Right.
Always try to save a buck. So
right. Why am I going to do half the fleet and then you want to all of a sudden save money and have someone else do the rest of it? That's not worth it to me. Especially when you're doing fleet jobs. You're quoting the whole job. And when you only, you guarantee 10 vehicles and then you're 5 vehicles in and then there's some type of jam going on. It's like, okay, well, I quoted you on 10. I'm predicting 10 vehicles. We're at 5 and there's a jam. The price changes. And that's something you got to have within your contract.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you have to do that. I try to stay away from that. When I give someone a price, I stick to it.
Right.
And it has to be pretty major for me to call them and tell them, hey, we need something done here. I know other installers that's their MO, is that they agree to any price that anyone gives them. And then once they're on site, they feel like they have that client in their court now. Yeah. We're on site. We have the graphics. Now I call up and negotiate. And they will. They'll call up and say, hey, this is not, that whatever excuse they use, and they get more money out of them.
That sucks.
And it ruins it for the rest of us, because now next time they call that person, they're not going to say, hey, here's what we have for this job. They're going to lower it even more, because they know that customer is going to try to raise it. I do that with some of my customers. Right. I know that they come in, and if I tell them 1,000, they're going to say 900 cash. Well, you do it for 900 cash. So when those customers come in, I just know in my head what they're going to do. And I think, all right, I need 1,000. I'm going to tell them 12.
Right.
And so, and so you have to play that game. But that's what they do. They play that game, and then they don't do the job or whatever, and I think it just snowballs. And when they call someone else, they're like, "Hey, here's the price we have for that job," and it's not even close to worth what you're going to do for that job, and it's ridiculous. I know we're way off on tangent here because we're not talking about wraps too much, but
no, but these are things that are commonly that the things that just commonly come up in conversation as far as business, and nobody either wants to talk about it because then they feel like they complain, and it's like, oh, you should be grateful because a client. Listen, don't tell me you get a bad client and you're not talking shit all the way back to the shop.
Oh yeah.
Like, come on, like don't act like you're all business, because we've all been there. As soon as that person walks out that door, you're swearing, like, what the fuck? Why did I even do this? I should have never went down on price. Or he got me this time, he's not going to get me next time. This shit happens. And you know what I tell everybody? And what I don't understand is, and this has come up once or twice before, why do people feel the need to negotiate a goddamn price when they're coming to you for a service in this industry? Why?
Right.
And
that's what I've asked them. Do you go to Walmart and negotiate your price after you put everything on the cart? Thank you.
Yes. I used to say that shit to everybody. Do you go to the fucking grocery store and buy milk? Do you tell them at the cash register you don't want to pay $1.99, that you only have $1? No, you don't. So don't come into my shop and tell me how much to charge you. Because there's the door. Don't let it hit you in the ass on the way out. Right. Why do people? Why? Do they think it's a joke?
It's if they know they're dealing with the owner, they do that. They don't try it as much with other people, and that's a lot of why I try to get out. When I'm on the job site too, I don't tell nobody I'm the owner. On my email, I think what do I have on there now? Installation coordinator, I think.
Yes, yeah.
I do not. I don't want people to know that they're dealing with the owner, because they feel like if they have some sort of personal relationship with the owner, that they can start naming their own price and they can start doing that stuff. So at the shop, everyone knows me. They come in looking for me every day, they said. And it's people wanting sponsorships, people wanting stuff all day long. They said people are looking for me. I'm trying to phase myself out of that. And
smart idea.
And make it so they call me, the few that have my cell phone call me, and I have to tell them, call the shop. I don't know. They have their own schedule. They're doing all their stuff. I don't pull any strings over there anymore. I'm gone so much, and I basically go into install. So I am kind of an employee now. I do work for High Res Imaging now. I'm, legally on the papers, my wife and I are partners, and so I am an owner. But when it comes down to it, I don't make those decisions unless it's somebody, really good friend or something like that. All that stuff goes through the office, through the right paperwork. Everything's in, all our work orders go through. If there's not a work order, the job doesn't get done. Right. There's not a job without a work order. Right. So calling me does nothing anymore. So I give people the make sure they have the shop number. I make them call. I don't know if they actually call or they end up getting mad and going somewhere else. I don't really know. I will say that all those sign companies that were in a 4-block radius, and I'm not going to take credit for it, even though I know that a lot of it was us. 4 of them in the 8 years I've been there, 4 of them are gone now.
Wow.
So what we did though, and this is I did not want to sound cocky or anything, but what we did when we came in, we had no experience with production. We had no experience with signs and banners and building stuff like that. And so what I had experience in was working for giant companies that do that stuff. Mm-hmm. So in design, I already had a one up on the local companies as far as placement of wording and lettering and all that kind of stuff, because I know how the corporate mind was thinking, because I did it over and over and over for these companies, these huge corporate companies.
Right.
So we brought in another level to a small town is what we did when we started. And we've hired people from local shops, and they're amazed at how busy we are compared to the shop they were at before and how we do things, because we don't do the cookie cutter stuff that everybody else does. I don't want to say game changer. I think that's like a thing that people use all the time. I mean, it definitely is. There's game changers out there, but we brought something to our town that nobody else had done, and we're reaping the benefits. We have most of the city locked down. All of the bigger events companies, all the bigger places, the convention centers, all the hotels, all the places, they come to us for all their stuff. All the big fleet companies, they come to us for everything. We're doing the Colorado State Fair is in our hometown, and we do everything for them. All of their sponsors come to us. Coca-Cola wants us to wrap a building at the Royal Gorge. It's this big suspension bridge, like highest one in the country or something, over this gorge.
Wow.
And they want to wrap a whole building there. And then at the fair, they want to do, I can't remember, 200 and something pole banners. Every pole at the state fair, we're going to put Coke banners on them. And, so, I mean, we have the town turning over into, you know, like they do, the other sign companies are just like, here's your sign. Here's your 4x8 piece of metal with some cut lettering and a little logo on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's so much of that. We came in and started wrapping buildings and wrapping walls and putting stuff on the street for all the street little. During the summer, there's all these events down by the Riverwalk and stuff, and we put huge street graphics all over the street. And I mean, just stuff that people never thought of in that town. We brought it in and just, you know. We really tore it up. I mean, the 4 other companies are gone, and one of them has changed over to a business to business only. They don't deal with the public anymore.
Wow.
So yeah, and they bought a bunch of like CNC machines to make, you know, dimensional signage and stuff for other sign companies. So it's been nice. I mean, we've definitely grown. I've had some interest of people wanting to buy the business. I'd really kind of like to get out of it and just go back to the traveling installs, just because of sheer stress.
Yeah, it's a lot to have a brick and mortar, and I think
it is.
That's the best part of this type of industry, is that you can be multiple things. You could be a designer and work from home. You can be an installer and be on the road, you know, 5-6 days out of the week. I mean, there's so many avenues you can take in this industry that you make it to what you want it to be. You can tailor it the way you want it to be. Either way you do it, it's still a business. You still have to do your proper steps, insurances, liabilities, things of that nature. But you know, what other industry can have these open doors that you can just walk into, where you can close a brick and mortar and still have an install, or vice versa?
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's not a lot.
No, I love everything about the industry except for the stress with the brick and mortar.
Right.
There's not as much stress with the installs. I mean, there is, because it's a lot of travel, especially when you come from a smaller town. When I worked for my old boss, I worked 3 days in my hometown, and it was for FedEx, Safe Flat Auto Glass, and a food service company or something. Giant companies that just so happen to have a branch in my hometown of Pueblo. And those were the 3 days in like 6 years that I worked in my hometown. You know, I was on the road the whole time. So yeah, there's that stress, especially with having a family. So the brick and mortar is definitely great for that, you know, to employ my daughter, you know, to have her working there now as a designer. You know, she's an up and comer. You know, she's an artist. She's designed her own tattoos. She's designed other people's tattoos, hand drawn. You know, she's an artist that way. You know, and she picks up instruments and just starts playing them. She doesn't get it from me, that's for sure. She was self-taught on piano, on guitar, all this stuff. You know, she's super talented, and so to bring her in. And she'll be able to do her apprenticeship through us and stuff from the college. And then she wants to go on to a university and get her bachelor's and everything. So she definitely doesn't want to stay there and work for us forever, but she wants to move on and make the big bucks somewhere.
Yeah. Got a good plan going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And to have you guys as the internship or that base to get some type of experience, she can open up the doors to many opportunities.
We seem to do that a lot. We hire people out of college, because the PBR, Professional Bull Riders Association or whatever, is in Pueblo, their headquarters. And they're always hiring designers.
Wow.
Always. There's always an ad for designers. Well, all these people want to work there because that's a good job. They get to travel all over the country. They get benefits, all that, you know, it's crazy. You know, it's a 9 to 5-er. It's not like the crazy hours we keep. And, they all apply there and they say, you don't have enough work experience. So they come to work for us for 6 months. We just get comfortable with them. And then they call them and say, okay, you've got enough work experience.
Oh,
we feel like we're the trainers for the PBR. We train the the graphic artists for the real world there.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's not that funny. Not when you find a good one that you really would like to keep, and then they're just, yeah.
Can you offer them more opportunity if they wanted to stay?
We really can't. Like, we can't compete with what they offer. They offer, I mean, just crazy stuff. I mean, the one girl, the last one we lost that we really wanted to keep, I can't even remember where she traveled last. She's posting pictures. She's at some big event somewhere in a big city. I don't remember if it was Vegas or somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Just having a blast. You know, she still keeps in touch. Her dad works for a local business, and he'll come in and get stuff done sometimes. And she'll come in or call or email or something every once in a while. She was really cool and a very good designer. She had won multiple awards with some of her t-shirt designs while she was in college.
Wow.
She designed a couple of shirts for us that were pretty amazing. But yeah, it is frustrating, and we treat our people good. We treat them really well, but we can't compete with that company. They're pretty crazy.
Yeah,
at what they offer. So
I mean, keeping the good relationship with, employees that leave or whatnot, keeping that open door later on. Who knows? Maybe they might, get into a rut or need an opportunity, and you remembered them and whatnot, and able to put them back on their feet, and maybe things work out the second time around.
Yeah. They the ones that don't close the door, right?
Right. You don't slam it.
That door. Yeah. Don't burn that bridge down. Yeah.
Oh shit! Unbelievable.
Yeah. So the one was of running a business, and I couldn't do it without my wife. She really does take care of everything, and when I'm on the road, especially, I have to just take those phone calls and let her vent to me, because it builds up.
Yeah.
And I got to get those phone calls about all the stuff, and employees, the work, there's just all aspects of it. There's a little bit of stress, but compared to other jobs, I mean, really, this industry is amazing. I was talking to somebody that's been doing this about as long as I have, but they don't really follow. They don't have the passion for the industry. They like the job because it's easy. They're good at it,
mm-hmm.
and they go do it. They don't keep up with everybody's stuff. They don't look at the newest products, all that stuff. And I'm talking about some tools and stuff, and they're like, I never heard of that.
Mm.
And I'm like, this is the best time since I've been doing it forever, that this is the best time to be in this industry because of the support that's out there. The tool support. We made so many tools ourselves,
right,
out of whatever we could find. And we had yellow tools. Ernie and Michael, they're amazing, the stuff that they do, and that they take advice, they take the ideas from people, and they give them money for them.
Right.
Even. They don't just steal them and run off and make stuff and say, hey, look what we just made. No, they'll put your name on it and you'll get royalties. But they have tools for everything. There's tools coming out all the time. And so just the tools in general, amazing time to be in the business, to have all these options. PID Pro Series coming out with all their stuff, trying to make it stylish and make it their own, just everything, the network of people. There's some great people in this industry that want to share it. And the people that don't want to be in the industry, like don't want to be involved and all that, they just have it because it's an easy job.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Go do that. Don't come over here and because all they're going to do is be kind of toxic to the situation, in the community. So
right.
It is kind of a community, I guess, the rap industry. It's and it's a good one. I know everybody talks about it, how it's a family and everything, and it is in a way, I guess. I don't know. It's a community or an industry, but it's so small and so still really new, even though it has been around for a long time. It's just not. It's just not as big as. It's not even as big as window tint. There's probably twice or four times as many window tinters out there as there is rappers. So it is very small and still in its infancy. And the people that are involved in it and passionate about it are, in general, amazing people and willing to share tricks and tips. It's just great to be around it, especially at SEMA, those places. I mean, you hardly ever get anybody being a jerk.
Right.
You know, they're all pretty, anybody will talk to you, and they'll talk to you for a long time. So, like me and you, we have never met.
We have never met other than social media.
We've never talked before. Yeah, we've never even talked before. We emailed and texted a couple times. That's about it.
That's it.
So,
you know, it's been an honor talking to you, and I know we've been on here for quite a while. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down and talk to me for a little bit, and actually a lot of bit. But let everybody know where they can find you on social media and website. So, you know, if they want to follow you, ask questions or anything, where can they get all the info?
Yeah, for sure. It's the website's highresimaging.com, HIGHRES imaging.com, and Facebook, same thing, High Res Imaging or Martin Medill. I have my own there, and then Instagram, there is a High Res Imaging page. It is not our main page. There's not a lot on there. The main page is Color Change Wraps, and that's about it. I mean, we're on Twitter and all that, but we don't. It's all automatic off the other stuff. So
definitely perfect.
That's it.
Martin, been absolute pleasure having you on.
For sure, man. It was a pleasure being on. I appreciate talking to you, and can't wait to meet you.
Yeah, definitely at RapsCon.
Yes, for sure.
We'll have to get together.
Cool,
man. Pleasure talking to you, and we will see you at RapsCon.
All right, man. See ya.
Thank you to everyone for tuning into the podcast, and thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to the 3rd annual Raps VIP event in Long Beach, California on August 3rd. Make sure to head over to their website at www.rapsvipevent.com for more information. And thank you to all our listeners. If you liked our content, share it. Give us a rate and review. Till next time, folks, that's a wrap.